4 trays, 1 seed packet. One afternoon in late February. Same tomato in every cell. I changed exactly one thing between them. One of these sprouted in 5 days. One of them took 19. Not a different variety. Not bad seed. Not luck. And here's what got me. The fastest tray wasn't the most expensive rig on the shelf. The setup half of gardening YouTube swears by? It came in dead last. And once you see why, you won't set tomatoes on a windowsill again. Let me walk you through all 4. We'll keep score. Why tomatoes are actually hard. Tomatoes are the most started crop on earth, and they're also where more beginners quietly give up than almost anything else. People blame themselves. Usually it isn't them. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. A tomato seed doesn't care about your window. It can't see. It has no eyes, no leaves, nothing to photosynthesize with yet. It's a dry little package of stored energy waiting for one signal to switch on. When a seed takes up water, enzymes inside it wake up and start converting stored starch into the fuel a root needs to push out. And those enzymes run on temperature. Cold, they crawl. Warm, they sprint. Somewhere around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 27 Celsius, tomato germination roughly doubles compared to a chilly 60-degree sill. So the real question of this whole test was never, which method looks nicest? It was, which one keeps that seed genuinely warm, right down at the soil? 4 methods. 1 winner. Keep an eye on the board. Same seed starting mix in all 4. Light, sterile, no garden soil. Watered to the same damp sponge feel. Sown the same hour. The only difference is how each one was warmed and where it lived. Tray A. The classic. A sunny windowsill. No bottom heat. What most people do their first year. Tray B. A seedling heat mat holding the soil near 80, with a clear humidity dome on top. Tray C. No tray at first. Seeds folded into a damp paper towel inside a zip bag, parked somewhere warm. Once they sprout, they get potted. Tray D. Outside. A milk jug cut into a mini greenhouse, lid off, sitting in the cold. The winter sowing method. I check them every morning with the same coffee in my hand and the same soil thermometer. Let's start with the one everybody already has going. 4th place. The windowsill day 3. Nothing. Day 5. Nothing. Day 7. Still bare dirt. Here's what the windowsill is quietly doing to your seeds. During the day, sun warms the surface, and it feels fine. But glass is a terrible insulator. After dark, that same window dumps heat straight outside, and the sill can slide into the low 50s. One night in my test, the soil read 55 Fahrenheit, 13 Celsius, while the room felt perfectly comfortable at head height. That's the trap. You warm the room. The seed only feels the soil, and every cold night those enzymes hit the brakes and the clock resets a little. Tray A finally showed its first pale loop of a stem on day 14, and when it did sprout, it came up stretched and leggy. Long, thin, reaching. Because here's the second problem nobody mentions. The moment a tomato does emerge, it suddenly needs strong light, and a February window is dim and low angle. So the seed is punished twice. Slow to start from the cold, then weak once it starts, from the light. 14 days, and a floppy seedling to show for it. Hold that number, it matters later. 3rd place. The milk jug. Now the one that made me nervous. Tray D lived outside the entire time, in genuinely cold weather, inside a cut milk jug acting as a tiny greenhouse. By the time the windowsill had sprouted, this jug was still bare mud. Day 14, nothing. Day 20, nothing. I honestly thought I'd killed them. Then, around day 25, they came. Dead slow. On raw speed, this method loses to everything. So why do I still plant a jug like this every single winter? Because look at what came up. Stocky, deep green, a stem you could practically stand a pencil against. That seed germinated only when the outside world was truly ready, and it grew up in real sun and real temperature swings. So it never needs hardening off. It's already hard. No transplant sulk, no sunburn, no babying. The indoor seedlings will spend a week being nursed outside to toughen up. This one skips that entirely. So park this one in your head as the tortoise. Slowest sprout, toughest plant, costs basically nothing. We'll come back to what that's actually worth. Now, the two that got fast. This is where the scoreboard gets interesting. 2ND place, the heat mat. Same soil as the doomed windowsill. Same seed. The only change, a heat mat underneath, holding that soil right in the sweet spot, and a dome trapping the moisture so it never dried out. Day 6. Up. Read those two numbers next to each other, because this is the whole video in one line. 14 days on the sill, 7 on the mat. Same seed, same soil, same room. Exactly twice as fast. From one change, and it wasn't light. It was heat at the roots. This is the hill I'll die on. For most people, a heat mat is the single most worthwhile thing you can buy for starting seeds, and grow lights are wildly over-prioritized before germination. You'll see people spend $200 on lights and then set the seeds on a cold floor. Backwards. Warm first, light second. But, and this is the honest part, the heat mat is where people cook their own seedlings. The mistake is leaving it on after they sprout. Bottom heat dries the mix out fast and, once seedlings are up, it just makes them stretch and go leggy chasing cooler air. The mat's one job is germination. The morning most of your seeds are up, you turn it off and move the tray under bright light. Leave it running for weeks and it quietly works against you. 7 days, a clean stocky sprout, and a repeatable method. Hard to beat. One tray beat it. 1ST place, the paper towel / baggie. Tray C never started as a tray. The seeds went into a damp paper towel, into a zip bag, onto the warm top of the fridge, one of the few genuinely warm, steady spots in most homes. Day 5, I opened the bag and every seed had pushed a little white root. I potted them up, and cotyledons broke the surface almost immediately after. The winner, and I want to be straight with you about why it's fastest, because there's an asterisk. 2 real reasons it wins. First, moisture and warmth are perfect and constant. No soil crust to fight through, nothing drying out. A cozy fridge-top climate. Second, and this is the honest asterisk, the seed germinates out of soil, so you're seeing that white root days before a soil-sown seed would ever break the surface. You're also potting up only the seeds that actually sprouted, so there's zero did it work waiting. But here's the hidden problem I didn't clock until week 3. That first root, the radical, is fragile, and it grabs onto the paper towel fast. Wait even a day too long, or handle it roughly, and you tear it on the way out. A couple of my baggy seedlings that transplanted with a damaged root sulked for a week and got overtaken by the heat mat tray they'd beaten to the surface. So it's the fastest to sprout, but it asks for the steadiest hands and the least patience for waiting. The verdict. So, twice as fast and then some. Here's how I'd actually rank them, because fastest depends on what you need. Want the fastest possible sprout and you'll be around to pot them the day they pop? Paper towel. 5 days. Just be gentle and don't leave them too long. Want the best all-round method? Fast, reliable, hands-off in soil? Heat mat. 7 days, no fiddly transplant, and it's what I'd tell a beginner to buy first. Turn it off the day they're up. Want the toughest plants for zero money and zero effort, and you can wait? The milk jug. Slow as anything, but it hands you a hardened plant while everyone else is babysitting theirs on a porch. And the windowsill? It's not that it can't work. It's that it fights you. Cold nights and weak winter light. Both at once. If it's all you've got, at least move the tray somewhere warm to sprout. Then bring it to the brightest window. Strip away the trays and the scoreboards, and it's the same lesson every time. A tomato seed runs on heat, not on your window. Get the soil warm and you've won most of the battle before light ever enters the picture. If you want the method that gave the cleanest result for the least fuss, the heat mat and dome I used are linked below, along with the exact seed starting mix. Grab the winning setup and you can run this same test on your own shelf this season. And if you try it, tell me which tray came up first for you. I've got a suspicion about the milk jug that I want to prove next winter. I'll see you in that one.